When I say that Australia and the United Kingdom is a toilet of a nation, I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this because almost every single person on the outside looking in makes this observation. I mean, let's take Australia, for example. Recently, you have one of the worst mass shootings in recent history. One of them was even an Indian citizen, so not even Australian. And so, what did the government decide to do? Like, did they decide to hold someone from the immigration office accountable? Did they decide to hold someone from the Secret Service accountable? Like, there was a failure at some point, right? You have an immigrant that crossed the border, he committed an attack, used weapons, and absolutely no one managed to catch him. Like, despite the fact that Australian people have given away so many rights to the government in exchange for safety, safety was not provided. And so, like, who got fired? Well, apparently the answer was nobody, right? The government decided to crack down on the native people, restrict guns even further, and bring upon some of the worst hate speech laws that humanity has ever seen. So, in other words, the government used this event in order to seize more power for themselves. And this is why, like, people are calling it the toilet of a nation. It's like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm not judging it based on the economy. I'm not judging it on the lifestyle. I'm judging it on the fact that the politicians are insane. Like, no genuine patriotic politicians that actually care about the nations they live in would make such decisions. And again, it's very difficult not to notice that diversity, multiculturalism, and mass immigration come hand in hand with censorship and cracking down on human rights and requirements for more safetyism. And when the safetyism is not delivered, the government takes even more powers for themselves, right? So it's a never-ending cycle. But recently, we noticed something else that's fascinating. The Prime Minister decided, in order to show just how diverse and multicultural Australia is, he joined the Mosque, right? And I think like this was in regards to the Ramadan event. And as he was joining the mosque, he was met by one of the best Islamic tradition worldwide, which is finger pointing and Allah Akbaring. So as you can see here, people really didn't appreciate the Prime Minister. Tensions were high, people were very emotional. And so Anthony Albanese defiantly said he was proud of Australia's diversity. Now, apparently, like, the Muslims were upset about Australia's policies with the Middle East because obviously Palestine is suffering because of Australia, right? Like, if Australia didn't exist on planet Earth, America would have been weakened and they couldn't do anything in the Middle East. And so Palestine would finally rise up against the Israeli oppressors. They would reconquer their land, and all of a sudden there would be peace in the Middle East, right? Like Syria and Palestine and Iran would shake hands with Turkey. Everything would be okay. World peace would have been claimed. The Muslims would go back into the Middle East. Christianity would rise in Europe. Like, see, the dominoes would fall. And so, because of Australia's policy of being friends with America, none of that is happening, and the world is a much worse place. But, of course, you know, these Muslims, they have foresight, they have prophecy, and so they are targeting the Australian Prime Minister over his foreign policy. Now, again, literally, any person with a brain can see the problem. If you import the Middle East, you import the Middle Eastern foreign policy. Okay? Like, the attack that happened in Australia was specifically because of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The reason that the Australian Prime Minister is now being booed in public is specifically because of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Like, you cannot have your own nation stakes if you're going to import people from the Middle East. Especially if you're suppressing your own population. Like, you're not allowing your own people to speak freely because you have hate speech laws. But the people that you import from the Middle East are allowed to speak freely, and they are allowed to impose whatever policy they want. And so this is why it's a toilet of a nation. Like, I'm sorry, it is. It is. Now, interestingly enough, I have a feeling that if the Australian Prime Minister would have gone to a Christian church during COVID, right? And he would have gotten the same level of boos, the same level of reaction, you would have noticed an immediate crackdown on the Christian population. And so the mental note here is that if you're an Australian and you actually want to have a voice and you actually want to be respected as a decent person, you have to convert. I mean, seriously, like, this is the thing that I'm getting. Like, normal people get persecuted by hate speech, but people who manage to make the smart decision and convert, they can now, again, regain their right to protest, to be emotional when the prime minister is there. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I saying something that's incorrect? Like, inshallah? But anyway, right, so diversity is our strength. Now, this is something that I haven't heard in years. So I think, like, the Australian Prime Minister was generally panicked. Because, again, like, no one that advises politicians what to say in public would write something like this. Because they understand that diversity is our strength has become a meme in 2026. Like, people that say it, they say it sarcastically. Back in the day when the woke ideology was starting to grow, most people, like, didn't know the effects of multiculturalism. But now people are aware that, yes, it comes hand in hand with censorship, higher taxes, lower standards of living, depressed wages, increased demand for housing, right? Like, people are aware of this. And so when you go on and you say diversity is our strength, you look like a buffoon. But again, I don't know, like, if the Australian Prime Minister actually has to worry about elections or anything like that when his party is protected by the hate speech laws that they passed. Their party is protected by preventing young people from going on social media and forcing them to get their news only from state-sponsored television. And so I generally, like, don't know how much he gives a shit about how he comes off in public, right? But here you get to see the Prime Minister said diversity is our strength mere hours after being chased out of a mosque. He went to one of the largest mosques in the country, and he was met with chants of genocide supporters and get him out of here, as well as the very interesting phrase, putrid dog. See, this is why I like my Muslim buddies. They teach me new words, new expressions. They broaden my horizons. Like, maybe diversity really is our strength. I mean, look at the things we learn. See, like, putrid dog is not a slur. I can actually say it on social media without being afraid of getting banned. The gamer words that I know have become slurs. And so, like, I actually do need to use a little bit of diversity and learn from the Muslims expressions like putrid dog, right? He is responsible for the deaths of millions of people. Really, the Australian Prime Minister? No, I think you're giving him too much stolen valor. No, seriously, like, you're looking at Anthony Albanese is responsible for the deaths of millions of people. Why, is he like Hamas or something? No, I mean, come on. You know, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The man wouldn't be able to hurt a fly. He's incompetent. I'm not saying, like, maybe he wouldn't want to. Like, he probably would. But you're looking at the Australian Prime Minister like he's the definition of incompetence. I don't think he can do it. Still, all of this was absolutely hilarious. I guess another win for diversity. I'm actually curious to see the polling in Australia, right? Especially when the new election comes, because they will be definitely interesting. Let me know what you guys think, of course, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.